In this WrestleTalk news, CM Punk removed from the AEW game, MJF reveals his friction with Tony Khan, all the fallout from Full Gear, and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos. Because for every new subscriber, New Japan champion Jay White will play the bongos in celebration. Feed him! Feed his bongos with your subscribes!
Support WrestleTalk!
It's just 2 days after a great AEW pay-per-view, which can only mean one thing. Let's talk about how CM Punk's attitude is affecting the company. After AEW's last pay-per-view at the start of September, All Out, Punk buried the company and many of his fellow wrestlers in the post-show media scrum due to various frustrations. This led to a backstage fight between him and members of the Elite. Everyone was suspended for about a month while AEW investigated what happened, and it appears they found in favor of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Findings that are probably even clearer in the weekend's events, where the Elite made their AEW return at the pay-per-view, and CM Punk is even more gone than he was before. Despite the controversial backstage clash, CM Punk has continued to be featured on most weeks of AEW TV because he's front and center of the graphic promoting their upcoming video game release, Fight Forever. Video games, with their lengthy development times, are notoriously difficult to keep up to date with the on-screen wrestling product. Just ask WWE 2K22, where half its roster had been released by the time the game came out. But now, in the first gameplay trailer that was made live over the weekend, CM Punk is nowhere to be seen, with the game instead focusing on promo clips with Jon Moxley, Hangman Page, Chris Jericho, and Britt Baker. Additionally, the cover art no longer features Punk. Originally, the game was due for a release this year, but the new marketing says it will come out in 2023 instead. Perhaps this is due to the fallout of the CM Punk situation. Do you think the game will be less successful without CM Punk on the cover? Let me know in the comments. For me, you could have the Ass Boys on the cover for all I care. I am buying the crap out of that game. But don't read too much into this, because according to Tony Khan, nothing of what AEW is doing right now is because of Punk. It's Survivor Series this weekend, but it's not just the go-home shows that make this week special here at WrestleTalk. It's also Established Titles Week. Confetti! For this week, Established Titles will be sponsoring the WrestleTalk news, and we get to tell you about the great work they're doing, not just in providing a very cool gift, but their work in helping heal the planet. If you click our link in the description below and use the code WrestleTalk on checkout, you can get an additional 10% off your order, in addition to the huge Black Friday sale they're running. But what are Established Titles? Based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are called lairds, you can make yourself, or someone you want to give a gift, a lord or lady for realsies. Purchasing a title pack gives the receiver a 1 foot square plot of land in Scotland with a certificate and crest to make their lord or ladyship official, which means you can genuinely update your credit card, plane tickets, dating profiles, and anything else with lord or lady before it. And for every purchase, Established Titles works with one tree planted and trees for the future to help global reforestation efforts, which is why we're so happy to have Established Titles Week here at WrestleTalk. The first 200 people to click the link below will have their plot essentially next to mine in Scotland, meaning we can start the WrestleTalk Kingdom and begin our plan to take over the world. And you get 10% off using the code WrestleTalk at checkout too, on top of their massive Black Friday sale. Tune back in tomorrow for the next day of Established Titles Week here at WrestleTalk. Title that title. See you tomorrow. In the media scrum that followed Saturday's Full Gear show, Wrestling Inc.'s Nick Hausman, who, let's not forget, caused all this in the first place by asking Punk the starting question, "It's all your fault, Nick!" asked Tony Khan whether he brought Colt Cabana back as a message to CM Punk. Cabana and Punk's personal fallout is really the inciting incident of the whole situation. They used to be best friends, but fell out during the legal case former WWE doctor Chris Mann brought against Punk's allegations on Colt's podcast back in 2014. So when Punk joining AEW coincided with Cabana being used less and less, and then eventually being moved to the Ring of Honor brand, the rumor and speculation was that Punk had demanded Cabana be removed from the locker room. It was that rumor that had made Punk so annoyed, which fueled his all-out bitch bomb. But one of AEW's first actions after their investigation was seemingly complete was to bring Cabana back to Dynamite to wrestle against Chris Jericho in an ROH World title match. It seemed like an announcement declaring declaring that Punk really is done with AEW. But according to Khan, it was nothing of the sort. Colt's undefeated. He's won both his matches in Ring of Honor, and I thought he'd be a very logical challenger for Chris. He's a compelling babyface, someone the crowd gets behind, and a really good wrestler, and I thought it would be a really good match. Meanwhile, FTR are there like, ranking systems actually mean something? So Cabana was brought in to wrestle Jericho purely because he had won 2 matches in Ring of Honor this year, even though Jericho's initial concept was against former Ring of Honor World Champions only, which was broadened to former Tag Champions to work Cabana's name in. It has nothing to do with the Punk situation, and neither, apparently, was the Elite's new theme. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks made their triumphant return to AEW at Full Gear in a losing trios championship effort against Death Triangle. Don't worry if you missed it, you'll get another 6 chances to see it in their suddenly announced Best of 7 series. I'm actually really looking forward to that. Their awesome entrance saw them use new theme music for the faction. Carry on, wayward son! By 1970s rock band Kansas nailed it. And with lyrics like masquerading as a man with a reason, and my charade is the event of the season, some have speculated it could be a shot at the voice of the voiceless CM Punk. Dave Meltzer has pointed out that, in this case, the Punk speculation really does seem to be jumping to conclusions again. Not only are the Bucks and their dad big fans of that song, but they actually used that song as their entrance music when they did their own backyard wrestling as teenagers. The faction will use the track as their trio's entrance music going forward. They will continue to use their old music for tags or singles matches. The Bucks have also announced that their YouTube show Being the Elite will return today. But the Elite's new music didn't stop Punk's entrance music, Cult of Personality, trending on Twitter over the weekend. But this one is actually a definite, genuine coincidence. The AMC series The Walking Dead used the song in their Series 11 finale last night to lure out zombies in one scene. Here's a clip. Even though Full Gear lacked the drawing power of CM Punk, the Wrestling Observer is reporting the buy rate looks to be similar to All Out, which was 140,000 buys. While that's below last year's 155,000 buys for Full Gear, it's far beyond the 90 to 100,000 range it got in years before, and should be considered a huge success given all the backstage turmoil and scrapped creative. Everything sure does seem to be returning to normal for AEW, which also means Backstage Frustrations! Following his victory over Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy Jack Perry took a shot at Austin Gunn, tweeting, "I don't know, I think I prefer being booked on the pay-per-views." A bit of friendly banter, which Colt and Gunn then took to either shoot or work shoot territory. I guess if we changed with the Bucks and stayed up until 6 AM with the boss, we could get a spot too. A somewhat hypocritical stance considering the Ass Boys most likely have their spots because of their father, Daddy Ass. In a potential hint that this is more than just a bit of Twitter working of those marks, FTR's Dax Harwood, a wrestler the Guns are actively feuding with right now, like the Post. In kayfabe terms, however, AEW is facing its biggest existential threat so far, having their world champion threatening to leave for WWE. MJF turned even more heel in the Full Gear main event, which saw William Regal betray Jon Moxley and help Max to win the World Championship with the brass knucks. According to the Wrestling Observer, the finish was booked by Tony Khan himself, where the seeds have been planted in the last several weeks of TV, like Regal and Max's first promo segment together and MJF conveniently not showing up after the firm's beatdown. However, Tony's wasn't the only idea, as several of the most influential wrestlers had their own pitches on how to do the heel turn. Ultimately, Tony went with his own. MJF's full appearance on Barstool Sports' Pardon My Take podcast went live over the weekend. Previously, we'd only had a 3-minute promo excerpt from it on an episode of Dynamite, and in it, Max spoke about how his post-Double or Nothing pipe bomb came about. Me and Tony Khan had a little bit of friction. I was not getting compensated what I should have been getting compensated at one point, so I quit on the air. I told him the things that I was gonna say, and then I said a lot more than I told him I was gonna say, suggesting parts of MJF's post-Double or Nothing promo was unscripted. It's a merging of real life and wrestling storyline that is making MJF's character so exciting. Everyone involved maintains Max's contract will expire on the 1st of January 2024, which sets a countdown timer ticking on his AEW World title reign. WWE is the obvious tease place for him to go, but again, speaking on Pardon My Take, he said he could just go to Hollywood, given him currently filming the Zac Efron movie about the Von Erich family. Now watch on to see the AEW crowd turn on CM Punk. And remember to subscribe for Jay White's Bongos.